Hey everybody, it's Dan from the Outdoor Trade Show channel, and tonight I am here with my friend Rob Blanchard of VibrationsTackle, and we're going to talk Vibrations Tackle. We're going to talk take-a-vet fishing. We're going to talk about all kinds of goodies because you guys got a lot going on, and I want to share that with everybody out there. And with that, I want to introduce Mr. Rob Blanchard here. And Rob, take it away.
Yeah, hey, thanks Dan for inviting me to be with you on your show tonight. I appreciate it. It's been a hectic week or so. I have a little coffee here. I only had one cup this morning. I got to have at least 5, so it's great coffee. Thanks for
we get some coffee.
having that for me too.
We got the top shelf stuff too. We got the top shelf coffee tonight.
We got
stuff.
Like the cups.
The Black Rifle coffee, so we got that going. We get the good stuff out,
Yeah. So Vibrations Tackle. This is going. Well, it's going to be on our 7th year. Our 8th year, I think. We started in 2011 when I retired from the military.
Okay.
I had 31 years in. It's a veteran-owned company.
Yeah.
So I had started out in the Marine Corps 1974 to 78. I was a jet engine mechanic when I stayed at Camp Pendleton, Hawaii, Japan. It was the Vietnam era, the end of the Vietnam era. I think the end was in 75, so I was in from 74 to 78. So all those Vietnam veterans, as they came back, a lot of even the infantry came to the air wing. They want to stay in the Marine Corps, or they were already in the air wing. I worked on the OV-10 Broncos, every helicopter the Marine Corps had. That was at Camp Pendleton. Then I got shipped to Hawaii, and we sent all the OV-10s to the boneyard, and they made me an F4 mechanic. So working on the J79s. I did that the last 2 years in the Marine Corps. Got out of the Marine Corps, worked construction. My dad was a plasterer for 43 years, so I knew how to use the tools. I was a laborer. Actually, I was laboring out at Truex Field doing stucco work on their buildings, and talked to one of the supervisors out there. They said, "Hey, we got some couple of job openings," and I actually took one. And that was in 1984. So 27 years later, I retired, and that was 2011. And that's the year we started our tackle business. Justin was experimenting with lures. He tried a few wooden ones, I think, but then he started working with some metal. And that's how we came up with the Echo Tail. We were big musky fishermen, just like to do tournaments. Yeah. And we had a good time fishing, and me following Justin's instructions on how to musky fish, because I really wasn't a big musky fisherman. I fished pike my whole life, and it's a lot different fishing pike versus musky. So, but we just kind of evolved. And then our second year, we had a fishing tournament for take-a-vet fishing. Actually, it started out as with Vibrations Tackle, Justin, myself, and that's when we met Jay Garstecki, who is our president right now, and that was our first year in 2012.
Wow.
We had, I think, about 20 vets, about 15 boats, maybe 22 vets, 15 boats. And fast forward just last year on Lake Wabisa, we had 115 veterans sign up on our website, and we had 75 or 80 boats, guide boats. Don't have to be a guide, just have to have a boat that's insured. Take veterans out, from taking one person out in your boat up to our pontoon boats, where we'll take about 3 or 4 or 5, sometimes 6. And this year, in the last couple of years, Sherry kind of works with the UW-Madison. We ask for some of those, any of the athletes to come out and fish with us, and we've had athletes the last probably 3 years.
They have a good time too.
They have a blast. Some football players, some of the rowers, and some of the other students. But it's athletes. It's a great time on the water. Basically, we fish for half a day. Go back to the American Legion in McFarland. We have a tent set up behind the flags, it's right next to the high school. We use the high school parking lot to park all the boats when they come off the water. And there's probably about 50 boats or more parked right in a row. It's the way a high school parking lot should look every day.
Oh man, so it's packed over there.
Probably one that had to skip school to go fishing back then.
Yep.
But I did graduate from McFarland. But so we have our take-a-vet fishing, a luncheon, flag ceremony, and just recognizing all our vets and giving them a lot of prizes away. So It's
The
a great,
food's
great
good.
day.
And the food is really
yeah,
good.
We actually,
And the food is
yeah,
really good.
you know, JL Richards, we get the food from them. They give us a good deal on it
Yep.
too, and it's really good food. Yeah. So we it's a blast. But so in the meantime, a lot of times I do back to Vibrations Tackle. We started out, you know, making a musky lure. That's how Justin got it started. Our first lure was like I think the 1 1/4 ounce, I believe, and
Okay.
it was a great lure. And we thought, hey, Justin, you know, being the guy he is, he said, hey, we can upsize and downsize this, you know, and that's what we do. We have our smallest one is 1/10 of an ounce. Let's see
Here we
here.
go here.
It's 1/10 of an ounce. This is actually really good for ice fishing right now. Your crappies, bluegills will hit them too. You can put a small, like a grub or something on that.
Yeah.
All the way up to 8 ounces for muskies. So, and also not only for muskies but for lake trout. Really good lure. We found that vertical jigging deep water lake trout
Yeah.
through the ice through the summertime through deep water on your Canadian waters especially. It seems like the farther north you go, the bigger lure they want. And our lures are very unique because we have, say, like even our 3/4 ounce lure, the regular lure, this is our 1 ounce or a 1/2 ounce. We can put more heavier lead on it so we can get this lure down deeper faster. We do that with our 1 ounce, so we just put the 1.5 ounce lead on the 1 ounce lure all the way up to the 4 ounce lead on the 2.5 ounce lure. So now what they want is that lure to get down and stay directly underneath you if you're vertical jigging out of
Okay.
the boat or ice fishing. And why would that lure move? Because of the currents and the wind and everything else. So
You guys have made your lure now to a point of it's very imagination friendly. So what I mean by that is with the, I'm going to show everybody with the holes, with how many holes that there are here, is how can we,
yeah,
if with all the different holes, and if you go to the website and you see, with all the different holes that are here, you can do, and with the, you can, and I guess we should show the basic one where you can put whatever plastic or whatever tail you want on the back of this, but wherever you rig this up, you get different action out of this lure.
Correct, yeah.
So there's so many different ways that this lure can be used.
what's unique about this lure also is you'll notice the color pattern. This color pattern was by one of our, at the Wisconsin Fishing Expo in Madison every year. The last 2 years we've had a coloring contest for kids, and this is one of the color patterns. So you can see what we do is we have them color a picture of an echo tail, and we pick out 5 or 6 pictures of that kids have colored, and we have that designed on the lure. So you can see that like the 5 holes here are the pulling holes where the snap is in the front hole. It's a faster retrieve, really tight vibration. As you move the snap back, tips that nose down, and it's a slower vibration, wider wobble, so more vibration.
Right.
And that what's also unique is that the tail is a basic, this 1/2 ounce lure, 1/2 ounce lure is our most productive lure. And I do all the field testing, or most of the field testing. And what we did find out was we used to have the hook on the belly right here. Found when you're going after game fish most of the time will hit the head, including your bass, your pike, muskies, trout. And I went down to on Lake Michigan a couple of years ago. A guy was doing some vertical jigging trout, and the week before he was catching some fish on our lure, but he was losing some. So I said, hey Justin, let's drill a hole in the front of our smaller lures, and let's try that for the 1/2 ounce and the 1/4 ounce. And those, we caught more fish. We lost a few, but it was the half. Here we go.
There we go.
We got the 1/2 ounce, really good lure that was down in Indiana. And like I say, different size lures. The gold was really good that day. And we caught about 10 lake trout, about from 10 to 15 pounds, using that, the hook on the front. And that's what we do now is all of our basic, the Echo Tails uses that hook on the front.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you see that. And that's the 1/2 ounce all the way up to the 8-ouncer too.
Well, it's such a fisher-friendly lure because you
Yeah.
can change up and you can do so many different things
Right.
with your imagination that
Yeah, so this last year, actually last couple of years, I've been doing a lot of field testing. I use 3 basic lures, and what they are is the basic echo tail. Using your basic echo tail. Normally, I'll use one of these lures. Start out with maybe the new lure we have this year was a funny bone. It has a treble hook on the back. We've got some tinsel on it. Cast it using the very front hole right here. And it comes through the water like a spoon plug, kind of sideways back and forth. When you snap it or just twitch it, it has a very erratic action. It's just amazing. Catches a lot of fish. If they're not biting on that, I'll take, a lot of my testing is right off a pier. My father-in-law is right on Wabisa. A lot of times I'll go down there almost every morning and help them get started. They're getting old, and get their meds in them and that type of thing, and get them breakfast. And I'll always stop and take about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to fish. One of the other lures I use also is this year. We got here.
your swim Duncan.
Yeah, our swim Duncan. White has been a really good color. I've used white and white. This one is just the like black with blue, and then the white tail. This has got the I believe the 5-inch tail on this one.
Yeah.
It's the Kalin's.
Yeah.
But that one, and then the regular echo tail. So these 3 lures, if I can't catch a fish off the
Here,
pier,
let's do this. We'll go up, hit the big camera.
yeah, these 3
main one.
lures, I'm usually catching something off the pier, and it's really interesting. I can fish with whichever lure I start out with. If they're not biting on one, when you switch to another lure, it's a lot of times, bang, you'll catch 1 or 2 fish, and it's really interesting to see what those fish want, particularly for that day, and it changes also even during the day.
Well, the number one thing with your lures, you can change colors.
Yeah.
You're not set on you can change
Right.
tails. You can change the tail colors
Sure.
all day long.
Yeah, and even with the swim Duncan, you can put a different skirt on it, and it's got the single hook on it. You see there? So it's weedless, not 100% weedless, but I can grind this right through the heavy weeds and
Here,
get a
let's
lot
show
of.
him on this one. Show everybody on
I'm gonna
that.
grind
There
this
we go.
right through the heavy weeds.
Yeah, it's weedless.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
and a lot of times I always, along with that, I'm always using fluorocarbon leaders. I like to use a 25 or 30 pound fluorocarbon. That I never had that break off on a fish this year, because anytime I get a fish, I'm always checking my leader after that fish is in the net. If I have to retie it, if it has any nick whatsoever, I just retie it. I always start out with about an 18-inch leader, then I move down from there. But if I'm going after a muskie, of course I'll use the bigger fluorocarbon. I like a 50-pound test works pretty good too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good lures. This is a little bit. It goes the 3/8 ounce is really good for shallow water. We got the 3/4 ounce for deeper water too. But most of my fishing is off a pier, so I'm using the 3/8. So
Okay.
yeah, and then let's see here. How we got started was, like I say, Justin started making these big lures just to. Like
I was hoping you were going to get into that. They were big
a
lures.
foot long, and it had no hooks on it. He was just using that to attract fish. It was like a
Yep.
decoy, and it was just amazing. It's like so it came from that down to making that first lure, and he was just sitting around. I think it was on Christmas. Being a firefighter, he's got a little bit of downtime. And then he was drawing his next lure invention or whatever, just thinking ideas, and he put a
Here, we're gonna do
Christmas
this.
tree, and
There
he
we
put a
go.
Christmas tree on the back of the lure, and that's, as you can see, that Christmas tree right there. That's the patent right there on that.
Well, what I want to
Right,
know, and when that idea popped in his head, because I know what happens to a guy when that happens, is once that idea popped into his head, now it's game on.
Oh yeah,
It's game on.
yeah,
And it's revolutionized blade baits. That
Right.
Christmas tree on the back is it's completely changed
Yeah.
how you fish blade baits today.
absolutely. And like you say, you change the tail color, change a different tail, totally different action.
You can do whatever you want with
You
that.
know, and even, you know, it's like your regular baits, you'll have to tune the lure by the front, you know, with a spoon plug, or what do you call it? By the lip. This lure is tuned by the tail.
Here, should we hit this one?
Yeah.
There we go.
So the echo tail is tuned by the tail. If I cast it out 10 feet, if it's coming off in on its side to the left, I want to push the tail just a little bit to the right, the way I want it. You want that lure coming in straight. You will catch more fish with that lure coming perfectly tuned in. And you can use different size tails. If you're vertical jigging, you might want a bigger tail. If I'm casting, I'll usually use smaller tails. There's a lot of things we're doing also, even throwing trailer hooks.
Oh, there we go.
Throwing some of the trailer hooks on the some of our lures too. So for walleyes, we're coming up with some other really neat things in the next year or so.
Well, we've got quite a bit going on here. So from that, we're going to get to some questions. We got all kinds of stuff going
good.
on.
Yeah.
Justin's got all kinds of stuff going on.
No.
Justin, he does. He wants you to show the head. What do we got? Show the head of the swim Duncan to show the round head. Talk about how it wobbles. So let's do that.
That's a good idea.
We'll go to that.
Glad he's
There we
listening.
go.
All right.
Yes, Justin.
On the swim Duncan, you can see how it's narrow on the top front here. I'm going to put the sideways there. Okay, when the swim Duncan comes
And
through
that's
the
heavy.
water,
Explain to people that's heavy too.
This is
It's
a
got
lead.
weight to it.
This is a lead. So when I'm swimming this through the water, and I say swimming, you know, you got the tail, it's pulling back, but when I'm tuning this, when it's tuned just right and coming in right, it's wobbling. The head is wobbling back and forth like this.
Mm-hmm. It was made that way.
Yeah.
It was made to do that.
Yeah, and so you can bring it real slow, just over the top of the water, over the top of the weeds. And what's really nice about it is when I'm casting, I see the weeds out there in the different weed beds, and I'll cast past it. As I see a pocket in those weeds, I'll let it go down. A lot of times those fish will come right up out of the weeds, and they will grab that lure. And that's the other thing with the swim Duncan. I've been using fluorocarbon line, 100% fluorocarbon, 17-pound test. With it, I also use the leader material. And that fluorocarbon, you can put it back on.
Don't put it
regular,
back.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you.
The
We're going to have you
yeah.
running this thing here pretty soon.
That's all right. The fluorocarbon line, what's unique about that is it has more stretch than, say, your braided line.
Mm-hmm.
Braided line,
Right.
I noticed when I started using braided line, I'd get a lot of tail cut off. You know, they just bite it off. That could have been walleyes, could have been bass hitting it hard, could have been pike.
Right.
As soon as I started using the fluorocarbon 17-pound test, I started getting a lot more fish. But I noticed I would feel that fish. Sometimes it felt like a weed. Every weed is a fish. Remember that, because many times it is. And all of a sudden, that weed would be swimming with the lure. So I let it run for a little bit and then set the hook. You see the bass guys doing it all the time. You know, they're casting it out. You see that bait running sideways. It's like, well, that's not coming towards me, so I got a fish. So you just reel down the slack and you just
Put the
hammer it
crank to
home.
'em.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Another one that you guys have recently found out in the last year or two is the bass guys are buying up your tech, because in the wintertime the bass are deep. They're in deep fall offs and deep holes and deep pockets. And the bass guys are buying these now because this has got the weight to it. It gets the lure down to where the fish are, and you got the action and you got the weight that gets them
Right.
down there.
Yeah.
What do we got going on here? I see you're looking
Right, I
too.
am. It's like, tell me how it wobbles. Okay,
That's what makes
got it.
this all fun.
Yeah, with that the funny bone. Actually, the funny bone. Let's go to the funny bone again.
Well, here, let's do this. I'm going to
okay.
have you change
I'm
cameras.
gonna move back maybe a little.
There
bit,
you
show
go.
Better. So the funny bone is it come through like a spoon plug. Okay, but when I pop it, it goes up, and it slides back down backwards. Okay, so if I know I don't have weeds coming towards me and I let it go down, it slides backwards and I don't get any weeds, and I pop it back up. I try to keep it off the bottom if I'm around the weeds and stuff, and I usually will try to bring this right over the top of the weeds. See that weed pocket again? Let it fall down and just bring your fishing pole. Just give it a couple of pops.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that'll produce just that action of this lure, because just the way it moves through the water is just amazing, like no other lure.
What I want to explain to people is you change the head, number one, but what let's go back here. The original Echo Tail is straight.
Right.
So the original Echo Tail is straight. What you did with this is you put a bend in it, and that changed everything because
Yeah.
now you got the wobble. It literally, it's a swiping
Yeah, you can
flow.
see the bend.
Look at the bend in that lure, and the action with that. You have to see it, and Justin's got videos, and we'll get to
yeah.
where people can find it. This is amazing. The action of this, and this is brand new. This is something people haven't seen. This thing is it's crazy how
yeah, there's a lot of
the action
fish.
is crazy.
A lot of fish are on first cast, you know.
Yeah.
When Justin goes down and
Yeah.
checks out a new lure,
It's crazy.
I got a walleye, or first cast of the morning, I believe, you know, is your most important cast, and many times that's all it takes to get that first fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that, and that's what the whole dilemma with what you got going on right now is. This is something completely different. Yeah, there's a beauty there.
That's a pike off the pier with the swim Duncan. Oops.
You gotta
So,
go.
no, you're good. So, you know, just cast, when I cast a swim Duncan, it's amazing if start out with a slow retrieve. I want it underneath the water, about a foot underneath the water, just like you're musky fishing.
You want to go back to camera? There we go.
So, yeah, just like you're musky fishing. And then I might bring that as fast as I possibly can over the top of the water. And what's unique is you get them reaction strikes. Sometimes I'll cast for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes and then just change it up a little bit, or I pop it up and let it go down, pop it up, let it go down. So
There we go.
yeah.
We'll go back to
So
the
there's
other
a lot of unique ways to use this lure.
Oh.
Don't just think,
crazy.
well, and I always fan cast. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll take 2 casts, 2 casts, 2 casts, 2 casts, you know, and
Right.
one will bring it in straight retrieve. I might do pop it up, bring it fast, you know, and then go back over again. Try that about 3 or 4 times, then change the lure over to the funny bone, and then you know, finish off with the actual Echo Tail, the original Echo Tail.
Yeah.
Totally different lures, totally different vibrations, and it's amazing how fish will react to just a different lure, different vibration. So we got it covered. We do have we have kits.
Well, here, what
For
I
the
want to
swim
do
Duncan,
is
I don't
this.
have
I'm
it with me,
going
but
to
yeah.
do some stuff here. We're going to look at one of the things that I like to go to is VibrationsTackle, your Facebook page. Justin always
Yeah.
got stuff on there. You just did a ice
Oh,
fishing
yeah,
report on Lake Wabisa. There's always good content on your VibrationsTackle
Yeah,
Facebook page.
if I don't get a
always.
chance to fish, if I don't have a pole in my hand, I have to be on the water or looking at the water or something. So I've been kind of watching the ice every day because, number one, I don't want anybody going out there when they shouldn't be out there.
Right.
I was actually able to stand on the lake, on the ice today. There's probably about 2.5 inches, maybe less than that in some spots. I wouldn't go out there fishing right now. I know people are up at the triangles on Monona, off of Monona. There must have been 50 guys out there yesterday. I think
it's too early.
I don't know how much ice was there, but it seemed like it was safe.
Okay.
There was a lot of people ice skating and everything, but it was the triangle on the other side of the railroad tracks towards the park, so not the one next to John Nolan Drive.
Then the other one is I want to explain to people is Justin does a lot of videos
Yeah.
on your YouTube channel. I mean, he's got a lot of content, and you know, he does a lot of. I always enjoy Justin's videos. I always enjoy what he's doing with all the different avenues he's trying to give people. The other one is that go to the website VibrationsTackle.com. You guys have deals on there.
Yeah,
you got
we do.
packets going on, and another thing that you guys have learned in your 7 or 8 years of in business is that people are looking for kits. So a big deal is people are traveling. People are looking for experiences. So they're constantly traveling and going, and everybody's on the move today. So you guys have got kits on the website,
You know, that's
where you put
right.
a lot of different things together with
Yeah.
tails. You got different sizes and tails,
Well,
and it's
yeah.
nice for traveling
Like
with
I
your
said
kits. And you go to the
before,
website.
I've used 3 lures this year. These 3 lures. A lot of times I'll take my bass kit and put a couple extra lures in it. But we are a travel lure company. What I mean
Yeah.
by that is
Everybody's on
I'm
the
on
move
my
today.
way to work. You have no idea how many people on the way home from work or on the way to work, they'll go a little bit early, stop off and cast. You see a bridge or a pier or someplace. Hey, I know there's fish there. take a few casts. Echo tails, the echo tail packages
Yep.
are really good for casting travel to your work, travel in an airplane. Grab an echo tail kit. I've caught fish on these since day one. Mostly freshwater, but when I go to saltwater down in Florida, I've caught snook, I've caught reds, I've caught mackerel, probably about 12 or 13 different species of fish in Florida, just
Right.
casting, and not out in a boat, just from shore under a bridge, or everybody will, family will go to the beach. I'll just find some place to cast a little bit and do a little testing, and it's a blast. Ocean fishing is phenomenal.
Well, here's the other
Those
one.
lures,
Is now another thing that Justin got me on is Dylan Hubbard on Sunday night.
Oh, yeah,
Dylan will be on
Dylan.
at 7.
Yeah.
Dylan will be on at 7:30 tonight. He does his live from Hubbard's Marina at 7:30.
Yeah.
And I've gotten hooked on it every Sunday
Sure.
night. But he's using
Yeah,
your lures down there because they're fishing in deep water. They're jig fishing in deep water, and they're catching a lot of fish using your echo tails.
I don't know if they're using our echo tails right now. We've been working with him with
Yeah.
Dylan. I've actually caught some fish. I went on one of the 12-hour charters a few years back, and I said, "Hey, can I throw the echo tail?
Yeah.
Can I throw the echo tail?" We had I think it was the 1-pounder, and I was trolling it on the way out. We were trolling. I think it was 14 knots. It comes out to like close to 20 miles an hour. And I actually had a big hit, and I had no idea. I just grabbed the pole and started yanking. We're moving that fast, and what happened was the fish started swimming faster than the boat. When it caught up, it just ripped the hooks right out of its mouth. But that was amazing, man. We've had a lot of people catching fish, vertical jigging our lures because they do work. We have so many different sizes. But
Well, the other one I see Justin posted on here is the whitefish. You got Zach
Oh,
Burgess
yeah.
up there with the whitefish in Green Bay.
Yeah, a few years back, Justin was working with Zach, and Zach was actually on Midwest Outdoors a few years ago using our lure. And I've been up there with my friend Dave Guger a couple of years ago. That I think it might have been that same year. And whitefish, probably fishing. I think we were fishing 73 feet of water. Went out there with an overnight shack. That's Zach Burgess, and I believe that's his. Justin, help me out. What's Zach's? Is it Why Not?
Yeah, I know. Well, here, Justin can
Charters,
post
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Jimmy Wells, does it vibrate when you put it up your butt? I'll take the hooks off, Jimmy. If you're going to do that with it, if that's what you're going to use these echo tails for, I take the hooks off.
Nice.
What else do we got? I got Adams on here. Yeah, Zach is up there in Green Bay. You got a bunch of guys up there.
Yeah, Justin said he sent so, here's the thing is, Sherry and I take care of her mom and dad, so Justin is doing a lot of work by himself, and he sent a bunch of lures down to Hubbard's Marina, so they're going to be using those.
Yeah.
That's awesome because it's a great place. They actually have I think it's a 48-hour trip. You ever want to go on one? Check their stuff out. The fish they bring back is just amazing.
The pictures that he posts on Sunday night,
Yeah,
the
you
pictures
will,
are
Yeah,
fantastic.
you'll fill
what
your
he
freezer.
posts.
You will fill your freezer.
Yeah. So what else do we got? And then you guys are another part of the packets or your kits, your travel kits. Is you guys are doing so much in the kayak world.
Oh, yeah.
You guys got the kayak world, and you're one of the lead sponsors in the Great Lakes kayak tournament. League.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we
tournament,
are. Yeah,
they're great for kayak fishing guys.
Yeah, and that's again just the
Mobile,
travel fishing.
traveling.
Take a kayak. You don't have a big tackle box. You got a small tackle box. And the echo tails you can use so many different ways. These 3 echo tails can probably be used 100 different ways.
Oh God, yes.
To fish them real easy. One cast, I can go deep water, I can go shallow water, I can go fast, I can go slow, heavy vibration, little vibration, pumping action. I fish them in currents, heavy currents, off of bridges, everything. It's just amazing how they do work and what the different actions that they have. And that's great for kayaks, kayak fishing and canoe fishing, and shore fishing. Shore fishing is just, I do more shore fishing than anything because I'm off a pier.
Yep.
And I've actually got Justin gave me a little bicycle, and I've got a kid's little wheelie thing where you bring your kid behind the bicycle. Well, I got it set up for fishing. So I go down to the bridge and fish from there once in a while.
I think it's the first year, probably the first year, and I think this was the size. You guys had the big size. The first, it was a size bigger than this.
when we
You had a size bigger than.
no, that was
So
our
you had a size bigger than this one. Was one of your? You
that
had
was
the
our,
big one.
that was our ounce and a half. The first one
Would
we
be
ever
the
made.
first one was
Yeah.
the ounce and a half. So I'm going to tell everybody a little story here about I think it was first or second year you guys were in business. I met you at the Madison
Right. Oh, yeah.
Fishing Expo.
Yeah.
And I bought a couple of because I'm
Sure.
like because I at that time I was doing a lot of fishing on the Mississippi River over at Genoa.
Right.
So now I got these Echo Tails, and I never used this. And the zips used to be the big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Was
Hey,
using the
you know,
zips.
blade
They were a
baits
big deal.
Been around and zips
Right.
are still good. All
So
blade baits
this
are
was
good.
this was something different from a zip, and I
Yeah.
could put a tail on it.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So if you go to Genoa, if you fish at the dam at Genoa, and you fish below the dam, usually it's the second week in May. The white bass are in there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
big white bass.
Yeah.
Big white bass. So. You know, and you got that current. You got that current that's coming
Right,
off of,
right.
and you want something that's not going to, that the current isn't just going to wash away on you. So I said, okay, let me try this Echo Tail. So I put the Echo Tail on. And I swear, and I mean, do this. You go over there when those white bass are in. I think almost every cast,
Yeah.
I caught a white bass over there, and I was hooked. I was like, oh, I got to buy more of these.
Yeah, I've got some video of me fishing off a pier, and the stripers were off the pier.
Oh, the stripe,
And I was
and
actually
it was
using
every cast.
I was using the 10th ounce because they were a little bit smaller stripers, but they were just boiling. And this year I saw the white bass, big white bass, boiling out, probably just past where I could cast. Excuse me. And I got a different pole so I could cast it just a little bit farther, and I nailed that out there. Boom! I got get one right away. It's like those were like 14-inch.
Oh man, these are big stripers.
Yeah.
But the problem over there is if you use spinners, a lot of guys use spinners. Well, the spinners just they don't work in that heavy,
Sure.
in
Yeah,
that
the
heavy
current that just
that
flows
heavy
around.
current coming. Where I was throwing the Echo Tails and I was tearing them up over there. And then one of the main guys, well, the main man at Genoa, which would be Pool 9 from
Right.
Genoa down to Lynxville, is Ted Beck.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've all been friends with Ted for 30, 40 years. And
Ted's a great
so
guy.
Ted has got, you have your signature series, Ted Peck, that it looks like a willow cat.
Yeah,
it's
we call
painted
it
like a willow cat. But you tear the wing dams up with your Echo Tail, with your Ted Peck series over there. On the wing dams, you catch a lot of fish.
Yeah,
A lot of fish get
now.
caught.
There's in 4 sizes. It's our Ted Peck kit. It's a 3/4, the 1/2 ounce, 3/8, and 1/4.
Okay.
All in that Teddy Cat series, which simulates the willow cat. And yeah, Ted just crushes one.
Oh, he does. He crushes them on the
that,
wing dams
so,
over
yeah,
there.
he's,
Crushes them.
If you want to know what they're biting on, just follow Ted Peck.
Yeah, talk to Ted. Ted will tell you.
Yeah, he's on Facebook now.
Yes,
Too, so
yes.
Absolutely.
So with that, did we get all our bases covered?
I think so. Anything else, Justin?
Justin, yes. Yes. Well, if you do, the one thing I want to share with people is this, is they can go here and you can ask questions. You guys are very accessible. Customer service is a big deal. You're a family-owned, veteran-owned.
Yeah.
You guys enjoy what you're doing.
We do. I grew up on Lake Wabisa. Justin
Right.
grew up on Lake Wabisa. So it's like when you
So-
don't have to go too far to fish, you're
Yeah.
up here and catching a lot of fish.
Right.
It's just amazing. Then what's really neat is you make a lure and you give it to somebody else and they catch a fish on it. That's
Right.
awesome. There's
That's
nothing better
nice.
than that.
That's what I mean. You're
Yeah.
hooked then.
Yeah, and back to Zach Burgess. That's Why Not Guide Service. So check him out.
I didn't want to get it
Thanks,
wrong.
Justin.
I didn't want to say that, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, and casting these things. I'll just ask or answer some of Justin's questions.
Yeah.
These things cast a mile, and they cast a mile into the wind also.
Well,
So they work good.
That's the other one with you guys, is I want to share some of the
can-
pictures that I got here with
Yeah.
some of the other stuff that I got. But that's the other thing with you guys. Ask. Just ask. Ask me. Ask Rob or ask Justin. And just ask. If you have a question, just ask. I mean, we're very accessible
Really?
and we want to talk to everybody.
If you're in the Madison area, you want me to go out in the boat with you, show you how to use these things, I'd be glad to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we're doing this. We have
Yeah.
fun doing this.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that, are we going to say goodnight to everybody?
I think so.
We're going to call this a night. Thank you, everybody. Good
Thanks,
night.
Dan. I appreciate it.